Hello and welcome to Scorpion Attack. Hey, this is an on your own problem, so you should have solved the entire problem. Now you have your paper in front of you and you're ready to check your work. So, without further ado, on to the scenario. Your home is under attack from these bad boys right here. There are 244,942 scorpions racing down the hill toward your home. Let's go ahead and write that down. You've got 244,942 of these bad scorpions right there racing towards your home. Hey, luckily you raise meerkats. That's correct. Lucky for you, which they like to eat scorpions. As a matter of fact, scorpions are like a big old chocolate cake to a meerkat. See, there's one chowing one down right now, thinking, yummy. Anyway, you have 147 meerkats at your home. Let's go ahead and write that down. 147 of these meerkats right here at your home. So here's what you do. You let your meerkats go into your yard to protect your home from the scorpions right there. That's right. Now, how many scorpions must each meerkat eat in order for your home to be saved from this scorpion attack? Well, my friends, this is a division problem, and you're taking 244,942 and you're dividing it by 147. So the first thing I want to do is write my counting by the numbers down. So you see I got my 4s and my 7s written down. I don't really need my 1s because we all know 1 times any number is that number. I also wrote my 2s down because I want to round this number up to 200 when I'm estimating how many times the 147 can go into the 244,942. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do is create my very first area box, and I'm going to plug it in right there. And then I want to make it a little bigger so I get a little more room. Then I'm going to plug the 244,942 right inside the box. I'm going to put the 147 on the outside of the box. And then I'm going to shrink this a little bit and move it over here so I have a little bit more room to work. And now I'm looking at how many times can 147 go into 244,942. Well, 147 will not fit into 2, it will not fit into 24, but it will fit into 244. So I'm going to need 3 place value holders, one for the 1s column, the 10s column, and the 100s column. And so I'm going to just go 0, 0, and 0, and that's going to give me 3 zeros down here. And once again, that's because 0 times 147 will give me 0, 0 times 147 will give me 0, and 0 times 147 will give me 0 here. And then I know that 147 will only fit into 244 one time, so I'm going to plug a 1 right there. So 1, and then 1 times 147 will give me 147. Bam. All right, so now before I do anything else, I need to check for trouble coming. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And clearly I have no trouble coming in any of these. However, I do have trouble coming here because I cannot take 4 and subtract 7. So I'm going to borrow from this 4, turn it into a 3, and then turn this 4 into 14. Then I have trouble coming here because I cannot take 3 and subtract 4. So I'm going to borrow from this 2, turn it into a 1, and turn this 3 into 13. And then I am good to go. So I will create my next area box. I'm going to put that right there. 0 minus 2. Backwards. 2 minus 0 equals 2. 4 minus 0 is going to give me 4. 9 minus 0 will give me 9. And then 14 minus 7 is going to give me 7 right there. And then I've got the 13 minus 4 is going to give me 9 right there. And then 1 minus 1 is going to 0 out. So let's go ahead and shrink this. And now I'm looking again and going, how many times can 147 fit into this number here. It cannot fit into 9 or 97 or, yes it can, fit into 979, right? So now I'm working in this column, which means I need two place value holders, one for the ones column and one for the tens column. So bam and bam, that'll give me two zeros down here. Once again, because 0 times 147 will give me 0, and 0 times 147 will give me 0 here. So now I need to figure out how many times 147 will go into 979. So I'm going to use 200 as my estimation number. That means I need to come up here and look at my 200s and or look at my 2's, right? And imagine that each of those digits has two zeros behind it. So it would be 200, 400, 600, 800, and then 1,000, which would be a little bit too much. So I'm going to come back here to 800, and that means I'm going to multiply by 4. So I'm going to plug a 4 right there. And there we have it. So now I'm working with the real numbers. 4 times 7 is going to give me the 28. I'm going to drop the 8 and carry the 2. So I'll drop an 8 right there. And actually, I need to enlarge that because that 8 is just a little bit sloppy. And there, I made it a little bit neater. Okay. But remember, this 8 was actually part of the 28. So drop the 8, carry the 2. I'm going to carry my 2 right there. And now I need to go and do 4 times 4, which is going to give me 16, plus 2 is going to give me 18. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to enlarge this so I can write a little neater. I'm going to drop my 8, and then once again, carry my 1 right up here for the 18. And then I'm doing 4 times 1. Well, that's simple. 4 plus 1 is going to give me 5. So I'm going to drop my 5 right there. And then I'm going to before I subtract, I'm going to look for any trouble coming. I have none here, none here, none here. I do have trouble coming here, so I'm going to borrow from the 9, turn that into an 8, and turn that 7 into 17. And now I'm ready to add my next area box. So I'll do that right here, and I get 2 minus 0 is going to give me 2, 4 minus 0 is going to give me 4, 9 minus 8 is going to give me 1, and then 17 minus 8 is going to give me 9. And then 8 minus 5 is going to give me 3. So now I'm looking at how many times 147 can go into this number. It cannot fit into 3. It cannot fit into 39, but it can fit into 391, right? So I need two place value holders here. Once again, I'm still in this column. So I'm going to add two zeros there again. I get 0 and a 0, and that's going to give me 2 zeros down here. Once again, because 0 times 147 is 0, and 0 times 147 is another 0. So now if I'm using my estimation is 200, right, and I look up here at my 2's, I get 2, then 4. 400 would be too much, right? So I've got to come here and just plug a 1 in there. So I'm going to plug a 1 right there, and that means that 1 times 147 is going to give me 147 here. 147. And then, as always, checking for trouble coming. I've got none in these two columns. I do have trouble coming here, so I'm going to borrow from the 9 and turn that 9 into an 8. And then I've got to put a 1 right here for 11. And then I have no more trouble coming, no trouble, and none at all. So I'm going to add another area box. And that's going to give me 2 minus 0 is going to give me 2. 4 minus 0 is going to give me 4. 11 minus 7 is going to give me 4 as well. 8 minus 4 is going to give me 4. And 3 minus 1 is going to give me 2 right here. And let's go ahead and look. And lo and behold, 147 will fit into 244. So I'm going to do yet another 100 here. These two digits here are going to need two zeros and another 1 right there. So let's go ahead and just write 100. And that means I'm going to get 2 zeros here. And 1 times 147 is going to give me 147 again, right? And here's another way to think of it. I'm multiplying by 100. 100 times 147 is going to give me 14,700, which is what I have here. So as always, moving on here, I'm checking for trouble coming. I have none here. I do have trouble coming here, so I'm going to borrow from this 4, turn it into a 3, turn that into 14. I have trouble coming here again, so I'm going to borrow from the 2, turn that 2 into a 1, and turn this into 13. And then I'm good to subtract. So I'm going to make another area box right here. And now I've got 2 minus 0 is going to give me 2. 4 minus 0 is going to give me 4. 14 minus 7 will give me 7 right here. 13 minus 4 is going to give me 9 right there. And then 1 minus 1 zeroes out. So now I'm ready to move on, right? And I'm looking at 147. Can it fit into 9? No. 97? No. But 974? You betcha it can, right? So that means I need a place value holder for here. So I'm going to put a 0 up here in the ones column. So let's come back up here. I'll put a 0 here, which means I get a 0 down here. And then I'm going to use my 200 as my estimation to figure out how many times this number will go into 974. So let's come back up here, and I've got 200, 400, 600, 800. 1,000 would be a little bit too much. So I'm going to come back here to 800, which means I'm going to multiply by 4. So I'll plug a 4 right in there. So bam, there goes my 4. And then I'm working with the real numbers. 4 times 7 is going to give me the 28. So I'm going to drop my 8 and carry my 2, drop my 8 and carry my 2 right here. And then I've got let me shrink this a little bit. Then I've got 4 times 4, which is going to give me the 16 here, right? Bam, right there. Plus this 2 is going to give me 18. So I've got 18. So I'm going to drop my 8 and carry my 1 right there. And then I've got the 4 here times 1, which is going to give me 4, plus 1 is going to give me 5. So I'm going to write a 5 right there. And now I'm ready to subtract. Now before I do, as always, I like to check for trouble coming. I have no trouble here. I do have trouble coming here, so I'm going to borrow from the 7, turn that 7 into a 6, turn the 4 into 14. And I have trouble coming again, so I'm going to borrow from the 9, turn that 9 into an 8, and the 6 into 16. And that means I'm ready to go. So I can add my next area box. And 2 minus 0 is going to give me 2. Whoops, I want to do that in black. 14 minus 8 is going to give me 6. Then I've got 16 minus 8 is going to give me 8 right here. And then 8 minus 5 is going to give me 3 right there, right? And now if you notice, just like last time, I got 147, which will fit in here to 386, right? So I got to do it again. I got to add another 0. So it's no worries, my friends. Just add another 0 here, right up here. Bam. And then I'm going to add a 1 because I know if I did 200, then it'd be 400, which is a little bit too much. So I'm going to add a 1 right there. But before I do, I got to drop my 0 down here. And then I add my 1 there. And then 1 times 147 will give me 147 down here. I'm going to just enlarge that a little bit. 147 right there. And as always, checking for trouble coming. I got none. I do have trouble coming here. So I'm going to borrow from the 8, turn that 8 into a 7, 6 into 16. I have no trouble here and none here. So let's go ahead and make our next area box. And I get 2 right there. 16 minus 7 is going to give me 9 right there. 7 minus 4 is going to give me 3 right here. And 3 minus 1 is going to give me 2 right there. And look at this. It can fit in there one more time, can't it? So I'm going to add another 0 on top here. Now, if you knew that and you put 2 right away, that's fine. I'm just using the estimation so that I don't go over, right? So let's go ahead and make our 0 here, which means we'll put another 0 down here, right there. And then I'm going to just put another 1 right here, another 1 right in there, and then 1 times 147 will give me 147 down here, right? So let's go ahead and enlarge that, 147 right there, right? And now I'm checking for trouble a-coming yet again. None here, none here. I do have trouble a-coming here, so I'm going to borrow from that 2, turn it into a 1, turn that 3 into 13. And now I'm good to go with yet another area box. I got a ton of area boxes with this one, don't I? That's all right, my friend. All right, so now 2 minus 0 will give me 2. 9 minus 7 will give me 2. 13 minus 4 is going to give me 9. And 1 minus 1 zeroes out. So once again, we're going to do it again. And I think we're going to find out that we're going to need to add to it again. But let's just go ahead, and we're using the same estimation. So we've got 200, 400, 600, 800, which is still working, but 1,000 is too much. So we're going to have to stick with the 4, right? So I'm going to stick another 4 there. Bam! There's my 4. And then 4 times 7 is going to give me the 28. I'm going to drop the 8 and carry the 2. So let's go ahead and we'll drop the 8. And we're going to then carry the 2 right on up here. Right? And then shrinking this again. It's a little hard because it's so small. And then 4 times 4 is going to give me the 16 right there. Plus this 2 is going to give me 18. So I'm going to, once again, I need to enlarge this. 18, I drop my 8, and then I'm going to carry my 1 right up here. And then I've got 4 times this one is 4, plus that one is going to give me 5. So let's go ahead and enlarge this. And then I'm going to subtract, because first I got to check for trouble a-coming, right? And I have trouble a-coming right away, so I'm going to borrow from this 2, turn it into a 1, turn that into 12. Then I have more trouble a-coming, so I'm going to borrow from the 9 and turn it into an 8, turn that into 11. And now we're good to go. Let's go ahead and make our next area box. Plug that in right there. And I get 12 minus 8 is going to give me 4. 11 minus 8 is going to give me 3. And 8 minus 5 is also going to give me 3. And now I am ready to check this out. And guess what? This is going to go in there one more time, because 147 will fit into 334. So I'm going to add another 1 right here, 1 right there. And that means 1 times 147 will give me 147 down here. 147. I'm going to subtract. I'm checking for trouble a-coming first. So I have trouble a-coming right away, right? So I'm going to borrow from this 3, turn that 3 into a 2, and turn this into 14. Then I have trouble coming again, so I'm going to borrow from the 3, turn that 3 into a 2, and turn this 2 into 12, right? And then I'm good to go because I have no more trouble coming. So let's go ahead and add our next area box in here. And I get 14 minus 7 is going to give me 7. And 12 minus 4 is going to give me 8. And 2 minus 1 is going to give me 1. And as you see, I'm going to be able to fit this in here one more time, aren't I? So 147 will fit in here one more time. So I'm going to go ahead and plug another 1 right here, and then 1 times 147 will give me 147 here. Let's just enlarge that so we can write that in, 147. And when I subtract, checking for trouble coming, none, none, and none. And I'm going to add another area box then, and then bam, ready, and 7 minus 7 is 0. 8 minus 4 is 4, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So 40 is my answer here. And if you look, 40, finally, 40 is smaller than the 147. So that becomes our remainder, right? And boy, this was a big problem, wasn't it? So now all I have to do is come up here and add this up. And I'm going to do that right here. I'm going to take this and I'm adding up in this direction, right? So I'm going to use all these zeros. 4 plus 1 is going to give me 6 right there. And then I'm going to add all these. 4 plus 1 is going to give me another 6 there. And then I'm going to add all of these. 4 plus 1 is another 6 right there. And then I've got the 1 that I'm carrying up here, and that's 1,666 with a remainder of the 40 that was left over down here on the bottom, right? So your answer is that each one of these meerkats must eat 1,666 scorpions, and there'll still be 40 scorpions left over, so a few of these meerkats will eat an extra one, and they'll actually have 1,667 that they eat. But if you were going to get the exact answer, you would say 1,666, and then there would be 40 scorpions left over for these guys to figure out who's going to eat some extra ones, right? Hey, as always, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friend. Simply pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. The other thing I would say to you is if you knew that this, instead of going 1 and 1, and here 1 and 1, and here 1 and 1, if you actually knew and estimated that it would go in there 2 times, you could have skipped that. This was just our estimation to make sure we didn't go over. But if you estimated as a 2 right away, it would have just been quicker, and you would have still gotten the same answer. Either way is perfectly fine. Until next time, I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you soon. And now, on to counting by the numbers. This is a great strategy for anybody who does not have all their multiplication facts memorized. Counting by threes. Ready? Here we go. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Counting by fours. Ready? And 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. Counting by sixes. Here we go. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. Counting by sevens, here we go. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. And counting by eights, here we go. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. Counting by nines, here we go. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90.